Have you ever stopped and wondered why your favorite coffee shop is on that specific corner, or why all the car dealerships in your town seem to be huddled together? Well, it's not random. Not at all. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the hidden economic blueprint that shapes our world, from a single little storefront to the layout of an entire city.
It really all boils down to this, right? It's a simple but surprisingly deep question. Why are things where they are? And as we're about to see, the answer isn't just because. It's actually the result of millions and millions of tiny economic decisions being made all around us every single day.
So to really get our heads around this, we have to start with the fundamentals. See, every single economy on the planet, whether it's for a tiny town or a global superpower, is basically built on three core decisions.
First up, what should we even make? That's called allocation. Then, okay, how do we physically make it? That's production. And finally, once it's made, who gets it? That's distribution. Just think of these three as the engine that's always running in the background of our entire economy.
But, and this is the absolute key to everything we're talking about today, there's a fourth kind of invisible factor that messes with all three of those decisions. And that factor is space. The physical distance between things, between resources, factories, and you, the customer, it completely changes the game.
All right, let's dive right in. The most fundamental way that space, or location, affects the economy is by adding cost. Seriously, if you remember just one thing from this explainer, make it this. Distance is never free.
Think about it for a second. Getting a product from some factory to a store shelf costs real money for things like fuel and labor. And you, driving from your house to that store, well, that costs you time and gas. In the world of economics, none of that is free. Every single foot of distance has a price tag attached.
And this brings us to a really important idea, the delivered price. Now, this isn't just the price you see on the sticker. It's the sticker price plus all the transportation costs it took to get that item to you. This is the real all-in cost you're paying as a consumer.
Now here's where it gets really interesting, especially when you throw some competition into the mix. So imagine two identical hardware stores on opposite sides of town. Let's call them Firm L and Firm R. They both sell the exact same hammer for $10. Well, if you live right in the middle of town, your travel cost to either store is the same, right? That means your delivered price is identical. That midpoint becomes this invisible line in the sand, a market boundary. Everyone west of that line goes to the west store, and everyone east goes to the east store, simply because of the cost of travel.
Okay, so distance creates these invisible market boundaries. But in the real world, our own shopping decisions are a little more complex than just go to the closest place. So let's break down the mental math we all do before we even grab our keys.
Why would you ever pay more for a gallon of milk at the corner store when you know it's cheaper at the big supermarket 15 minutes away? It's a trade-off, isn't it? You're constantly weighing the value of your time against the value of a better selection or lower prices. On one hand, you've got a big mall with tons of variety and the chance to get 5 errands done in one shot. But on the other hand, you have the local shop that saves you 30 minutes of your life. Every single shopping trip is a brand new calculation of what matters more to you in that exact moment.
Now, let's flip the script. While we're all out here making our own little calculations, businesses are on the other side of the counter trying to solve their own version of this puzzle. But their goal isn't convenience, it's profit. Pure and simple.
For any business out there, from a tiny food truck to a huge multinational company, it all comes down to this one question. Where exactly can we set up shop to maximize our profit? They're always looking for that one sweet spot on the map that gives them the biggest possible edge.
And here's the thing, the best location isn't always where the rent is the cheapest, and it's not even necessarily where you'll get the most customers. It's that perfect sweet spot. The place where the gap between the money coming in, your revenue, and the money going out, your costs, is the absolute widest it can be.
This chart shows it perfectly. So take a look at location A. Let's say that's a super busy downtown spot. Your revenue is high, for sure, but so are your costs for rent and staff. So your actual profit is pretty small. Then there's location C, out in the middle of nowhere. It's cheap, but revenue is low, so again, small profit. But look at location B. It hits that sweet spot. Maybe the costs are low and the revenue is still pretty darn good. That creates the biggest gap between those two bars, and that means maximum profit. That is the winning location.
So what happens when you zoom out? When you have millions of us making our little shopping calculations and thousands of businesses solving their big profit puzzles all at the same time? Well, something pretty amazing happens. All of those individual decisions start to collectively sculpt the physical world around us.
Probably the best way to think about this is like a constant, invisible bidding war for every single piece of land. Different land uses, like retail stores, housing, and even agriculture, are all competing for the same space, all trying to find their perfect, most profitable location.
So who wins this bidding war? It's actually really simple. Whoever can make the most money from that specific location. A fancy retail store can afford to pay crazy high rent right in the city center because that's where the customers are. A family can't compete with that price, so they look for more space out in the suburbs. And a farmer, who needs huge amounts of affordable land, gets pushed way out to the edges. The market just naturally sorts everyone out.
And that is why our cities look the way they do. This whole bidding process naturally sorts our world into the zones we all recognize. You've got a dense commercial downtown surrounded by rings of residential suburbs which eventually just fade into farmland. It's not an accident, it's like a kind of economic gravity, pulling everything into its most profitable place.
So, the next time you're walking or driving through your town, really look around. The street you're on, the businesses you see, the neighborhoods you pass, none of that is there by chance. It's a living, breathing map of all these economic decisions we've been talking about. And the real question to ask yourself is, what's the next big decision, like remote work or online shopping, that's going to completely redraw this map all over again?